Hey guys, today we're going to share 3 strategies you can use to help a child who is being bullied. You've got 6 kids. Surely to God you have some experience with this.
You know what? I have lucked out. Like, I have not had to deal with my kids getting bullied. Of course, they come home with stories about friends and whatever, so we have lots of conversations about it.
Right.
But I feel like somehow I dodged the bullet so far.
Well, you're lucky. You're lucky because I hear nothing but like horror stories about this. And having a 6-year-old, I don't know whether she's going to get bullied, be the bully, or just
God.
escape this whole thing.
They're always going to have experience with it because they're going to see it. And it's like, are they going to be bystanders? Are you going to, are they going to be empowered to speak up and defend? And if so, are they putting themselves at risk? And what does that look like? And, having those conversations is
That's a hard part, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is why I've worked really hard with Maddie to talk about gratitude and empathy, because I think gratitude also kind of leads to empathy. You just see somebody who needed maybe a pal to sit with them at lunch. Sometimes that person is Maddie. So I hope that other parents are teaching their kids not to be exclusionary. And
because that's part of, a big part of bullying is that exclusionary stuff.
Yeah,
right?
it's and the social currency.
Yeah, totally. So it's not so much, name calling or harassing them or whatever. It's about just not acknowledging they exist.
Yeah, I mean, that can be as painful and as hurtful as, being called a terrible name or even being physically pushed around.
I have had to say to my kids though, because I've got one guy who likes to police other people's behavior a bit. I call him the officer. He'll come home and be like, oh, so-and-so is being a bully. And I'm like, you know what? I think he uses the word too freely.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, if he just called you a nerd once, that's not bullying. So I think they hear this word a lot and they don't necessarily always use it appropriately. So I would actually advise that if your kid says they're being bullied, talk a lot about the behavior and find out what actually is going on.
Yeah.
Because it might just be that somebody said you're annoying.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which I know.
So I'm bullied in my marriage a lot then.
Yeah.
But one thing I did, when I was reading about this, because I am, like I said, very fearful of this happening. I was bullied as a kid on about 3 different occasions, when I was younger, and then in high school it happened to me pretty bad.
I'm sorry about that.
I know, but I can't let it go because I'm a woman. One thing parents love to do automatically is sort of step in and get together with the parents of the kid who's apparently doing the bullying. But what that can do is break your trust with your child, because your kid doesn't want you to do that. They don't want anyone to know, which is why they're often silent about it, and that's why you always have to sort of check their behavior and changes in their patterns.
That can be ineffective for a lot of reasons. If a kid's a bully, you do sometimes get that apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, so exactly.
It's not like you're going to be calling these parents to be, however, not always. No. Some parents are super awesome about when their kids are acting a certain way and they deal with it, whatever. But often parents are defensive of their children.
Yeah.
And protective. And they'll be like, you know what, my kid's just fine. It's your kid. So sometimes having a rational conversation isn't going to happen to the start. Your kid is not going to tell you stuff if they feel like you're going to take it outside of their trust circle.
Exactly.
And then they're going to
embarrass
shut down
them or make it worse for them.
And it often will become worse, because then the kid goes to school and says, oh yeah, now you're a rat. You ratted on my parents, got a call from your parents. We have to have this meeting. And then it becomes worse. So.
And also I've said to Maddie, when somebody's bullying or being mean or something, it's often because they're not happy. So going to their parents, that could actually be the source of their unhappiness. You don't want to make it worse for that kid either, right? So what you can do, and things that I've learned through a little bit of research, is talk to her teacher, because often that behavior isn't going to happen in front of a teacher or a school.
Crafty bullies knows not to do this in front of a teacher. And there's enough opportunities. I mean, you got one teacher, 30 kids. I mean, she's only got the one set of eyes.
Yeah, but if you're the one who buys her an LCBO certificate for $50 at Christmas, your kid is taken care of. So don't worry about that.
But you're right. Tell the kid if they're having problems at recess, just walk with the teacher who's on duty. Yeah. There are little strategies to. It's sad.
They need some sort of sense that they're, that they're being listened to, and that there is help for them. We're not just disregarding them and letting them figure it out. The second strategy is to, help them develop a touchstone. Find a buddy at school that they can eat lunch with or go to or play with, or if they feel like, the child or children in question who might be bullying them or coming around them, then they can go to another child.
Yep. A strategy I used, because my eldest child has autism and he never did get bullied. He's done quite well socially. but I definitely made him the cool kid. He had the best birthday parties. I invited like all the kids. I always just made sure that, you know, we had play dates. We invited friends over often, and I would make sure they had an awesome time. So they'd be going back to school talking about how much fun it is at Mac's house. But it was a really good investment socially in my kid.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, and he had kick-ass birthday parties that I was never invited to.
Poor Jack.
I know. Third one is teaching your kid, like, I mean, at Maddie's age, she's too young. Like, if your kid's got a great sense of humor, you know, maybe encourage them to use a little zinger on the kid who's approached them.
Whenever they say anything, whenever a bully says anything, just whatever.
Your first reaction to that initial contact with a bully will sort of set the pace for how that's going to roll out. So if your first reaction as, you know, the kid is to get all upset, well then, you know, you're
Success.
done. You're done like
the bully's
dinner.
going, yeah, that worked. I'm going to
Yeah.
just keep going back for more of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you can teach your kid to do
Whatever.
that, I'm rubber, you're glue.
Yeah.
Everything you say bounces off me and sticks to you. I
yeah.
tried to teach Maddie that. She screws it up every time. And it
I
always
would.
ends up going, like, sticks to me. I'm like, oh my God, we have
Never
so
mind.
much work to do. Hopefully you're the bully. But you know, the thing too about having that touchstone is they say that bullying is a cost benefit thing.
Sure.
So they get something out of it, they do it more, and it sort of feeds that, fuels that fire.
Right.
So,
It's
you
like
know,
temper tantrums. That's why I always say kids
Yeah.
should only ever have one temper tantrum, because they'll see that it doesn't work because the parents aren't reacting, so they give up on the behavior. If your kid's having a bunch of temper tantrums, it's working.
yeah.
It's
Totally
working
works
for
around
them.
here.
If they're getting the feedback that they're after, then it's working. And that's why I say to my kids, like, if you have friends who are online and they're getting bullied on social media or whatever, just tell them to get off social media for a while. If there's no one there to receive the messages, if the account is dead, then guess what? The bully goes away. They're not getting anything from it.
Yeah, good point.
Never make your kid feel embarrassed for being bullied. A lot of kids won't talk to their parents about it because they don't want their parents worrying about them, and they're embarrassed that they're bullied, and they don't want to come home and say, I have no friends. They don't want their parents to know that about them.
But they also don't want their parents to make it worse. But some parents tend to say to the child, like, well, what did you do? And it's really important if your kid's got the guts to come to you and talk about it, don't put it back on them.
Right.
That makes them feel like yucky inside.
Right.
So if you've got some tips on how to help your kid through a bullying situation, or what if your kid is the bully?
Oh.
How do you know? What are the signs? How do you know if your kid is the bully? That's another topic. Anyway,
That'd be way worse.
I think that would be
Yeah,
worse.
yeah.
Absolutely. So comment, tell us what you would do, what your tips are, or just if you have any ideas you'd like us to talk about, and subscribe. It's really easy. Just click right there.
Click.